All right, so today we are working on comparing mixed numbers. Make sure that this title is listed in your table of contents, and we will begin. All right, so comparing numbers is exactly what it sounds like. So we don't even need any vocabulary. We know what a mixed number is, right? Somebody raise your hand if you could tell me what is a mixed number. Allison with an E.
It's the fraction.
A fraction and
a number.
And what kind of number?
A whole number.
A whole number and a fraction. So it might look something like, so we're just going to start with examples, all right? It might look something like 5 4/7, okay? Or 3 2/5. So, if I am given these two mixed numbers, and they're going to ask you something in the directions like they always do, compare these two numbers with less than, greater than, or equal to signs, right? They always say that. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the whole numbers. Now this is the easiest place to start. When I look at two numbers like 5 4/7 and 3 2/5, this is a beauty, right? What's bigger, 5 or 3?
5.
Holy guacamole, everyone. What is bigger?
5.
Thank you, 5th grade. 5. So that one, boom. 5 4/7 is bigger. Okay, so that's one of the easy ones. But if I have something like 2 7/8 and 2 5/9, 2 7/8 versus 2 5/9, I'm going to have to step into my next line of defense, which is that I'm going to have to compare fractions. My whole numbers are equal, so that doesn't work. I have to compare fractions. All right. You're good with these. Just get down what you can, okay? No problem. Now, we have talked about comparing fractions already. Okay. Somebody remind me, what are some of the things I can do to just compare fractions? Raise your hand and a banana. Okay. So you can cross multiply, right? Or butterfly. What else can I do to compare fractions? Allison with an E.
You can see which one's closer to a half.
Yeah. So you can compare them to a half, right? Or 1, right? Or a whole. And there is one last thing that you can do, which I've kind of like tried to say, hey, do this last of all, because it takes a lot more time. But what is that last thing that you could do to compare your fractions, Jacob? You could draw. You could draw them out. And hey, some of you may have to do this, and if you do, it is okay. What is more important, being quick or being accurate?
Accurate.
Everyone. Accurate. So if you need to draw, there is absolutely no shame in that. You need to do what you need to do to be accurate. So those are your 3 options there if you have to compare fractions. So for this second example, I have 7/8 and 5/9. Now the fastest thing will definitely be to cross multiply. However, is it important that we be able to kind of size these up and look at them and have an idea? I mean, if I'm looking at 7/8 and 5/9, should I compare them to halves? What do we notice about them? And this is important, so don't blow me off because you think I'm just going to cross multiply them. You need to start understanding this as well. This is why I haven't told the other class about the butterfly method, because I don't want them to know. Both of these fractions, y'all, are bigger than a half. Look at 7/8 and 5/9. Half of 8 would be 4. Half of 9 would be 4.5. They're both bigger than a half. So for these, I might even compare them to a whole. Right? So if it's a whole, it would be 8 over 8, 9 over 9. Which one's closer to a whole?
The 7/8.
The 7/8. Now, if I cross multiply these, I'm just going to check it. 8 times 5 is 40. And 9 times 7 is 63. So 63 is bigger than 40, so that works.
So all you do is 8 times 5 and then 9 times 7?
Yes, but again, I want you should be thinking this way too. I'm going to tell you right now, in 6th grade, my daughter has had this, and they are comparing to halves and wholes, and she will ask to see it. So you need to be doing both. Okay? This is what Miss Henshaw is going to ask you to do, so you're welcome. Merry Christmas. I'm just going to tell you right now, you need to check yourself with the cross multiplication, but understand the relationships of those fractions. You want to be able to glance at these guys without multiplying and understand which one is bigger. Yeah, Lawson.
I never learned the butterfly method.
You were here. All right.
Well, I was in the other class when we got taught that. Well,
No, we just did this like a week or two ago. So, yeah, we just started working on fractions a few weeks ago. Anybody need a few more seconds to write these? All right, I'm going to hit pause. So if you are watching this, you can hit pause and finish your notes and then hit play. All right, so let's keep going. Let's do another one just like this. What I would like for you guys to do is try to compare this on your own, and then we will compare answers and see how we do. So I've got 4 and 8/10, and I'm going to compare that to 4 and 2/5. Okay? So 4 and 8/10. Let me bring this in. And 4 and, whoops, there we go, 2/5. Go ahead and take a look at this and write in what you think is going to be the bigger one, right? Put in your sign and then we'll check it together. All right, so Ashton, what's your answer? Tell me what your answer is and then we'll talk through. Which one's bigger?
4 and 8/10.
Okay, so she says that 4 and 8/10 is bigger. So let's walk through this in case you didn't get it right. First thing that we would want to do, like we did in step 1 up at the top, is we compare our whole numbers. They are both 4, so they're equal. Now, you need to take 8/10 and compare it to 2/5. So one of the things that you might notice when I'm looking at these two, if we compared them to halves, half of this first fraction, let me move this up, would be 5 over 10, and half of anything to the 5th power would be 2.5 over 5. So the first thing I notice, guys, is that 8/10 is bigger than a half, but 2/5 is not. It's not even a half. So if 2/5 is smaller than a half, right, which would be 2.5, half of 5 is 2.5, half of 10 is 5, 8 is bigger than 5, then yes, 8/10 is bigger than 2/5, which makes this correct. Any questions about this example? How did we do? Give me a thumbs up if you're with me, in the middle if you are getting there, and thumbs down if you have no clue what's happening. Girl, give me a knuckle sandwich. What are you talking about? You just gave me the answer. Shocker.
What?
I'm just waiting on you, Mr. Lozano. You good?
I put my thumb up.
Okay.
I put my thumb up.
All right.
At least I don't have a
Oh,
crap
sissy.
attitude. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Don't you? Okay. So let's take a look at some improper fractions, and then we're going to bounce back to this and do some more practice together. Okay. So, I'm just going to draw my line in the sand. And let's move on here to our next example. So one other thing that you might see is improper fractions that need to be compared. Improper fractions, mixed numbers. It might just be like a whole smorgasbord. They could give you all kinds of choices here.
I need my pen.
All right.
Thank you.
So we've got 2 12/6 versus 2 and 5/6. Everybody make sure you get those two written down, okay? So this is going to require you to make some choices, okay? What you ultimately need, let's watch out here. What you ultimately need is to make a choice on what you're going to compare. Now, if it were me and I have an improper fraction and a mixed number, every single time, if I have one of each, I'm going to pick the mixed number. I just think that they're easier when you have the whole numbers to start with, okay? So that would be my first step. I would take my improper fractions and I would turn them into mixed numbers. Now, here's the thing about improper fraction and improper fraction. It's all well and good if they have the same denominator. But if they don't have the same denominator, you're going to end up making them mixed numbers. Because you need to see the fraction that's left over. Are y'all with me?
Yes.
So if I had this 12/6 and 14/3, like I need to think, okay, what do these look like as mixed numbers? And I probably don't even have to show it. I mean, if it was 14/3, I would say, oh, that goes in 4 times with 2 left over, right? Either way, I need to compare those whole numbers pretty quick. If that doesn't work, I'll check the leftover fractions. But if your improper fractions do not have the same denominator, you're going to have to change them to mixed numbers. Is everybody with me? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll look at a couple of examples. So for this one, my first step that I'm going to tell you to do is to go ahead and if you have an improper fraction, make it a mixed number. Now, as a reminder, we are taking our fraction, nobody in here. We're taking our fraction, and again, don't forget that we're going from the bottom to the top. So that would look like 6 divided into, remember that your fraction bar is your division bar, and 6 goes into 12. That's what we need to do first. That happens 2 times. Everybody with me?
No.
Hope you're writing it down. So I'm going to go ahead and I've turned that into a mixed number, actually just a whole number, right? So now I'm going to compare 2 to 5/6, to 2 and 5/6. So it's much easier to see which one is bigger, right? Titus, which one do you think is bigger?
2 and 5.
The 2 and 5/6. I mean, yes, the whole numbers match, but this one has a fraction on top of it, so it has more pieces. So I'm just going to write up here on this second step that you could do mixed to improper, but I would not do it except with same denominators. That is a D. Denominators. Let me move that over a little bit. Okay, so those would be my 2 steps for you. Only change your mixed numbers to improper fractions if they have the same denominator. For some of you, one might be easier than the other. It might be easier to just multiply and then add a mixed number versus doing the division for an improper fraction. So again, if that's what works for you, then that's what you need to do, but it's not going to help you unless they have the same denominators. You're just doing extra work. Okay, anybody need a little more time to write? You're not even writing. All right. All right, let's compare two improper fractions. So I'll have 9/8 compared to, let me make sure that looks like a 9, 12 over 4, 12 fourths. Okay, so again, you have the choice. You can change them to mixed numbers, or you can try to compare them. I have two improper fractions here. I'm going to encourage you again to work from the bottom up. You'll be dividing 8 into 9. And over here on this side, you'll divide 4 into 12.
You're going too quick.
Well, write it down.
You didn't pause. I feel like you did.
Hey, stop worrying about that. I'll take care of that, okay? Now, does everybody understand where the 8 divided into 9 and the 4 divided into 12 is?
No.
Okay, this is when we looked at converting improper fractions to mixed numbers. So this should look extremely familiar to you, like from last week, okay? Where we talked about any fraction is a part over whole. So this first number, 9/8, shows me that I have 9 pieces. However, how many do I need to make one whole? 9. Yes. 8. You're right. 8. So it would look something like this. You do not have to draw this picture. It says that I have 9 over 8. So if I have 9 pieces, I need to shade in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces, but I don't have enough. So I'm going to make myself another cake here. It will also need 8 pieces. Again, you do not have to draw this. But now I can draw my 9th piece of cake there. So if I were going to write a fraction for this cake, I would say that's 8 out of 8 slices. And this is 1 out of 8 slices. When I add them up, I always keep my denominator for adding.
9.
And end up with 9/8. So now what I'm doing is I am breaking this down into 1 and 1/8. So I'm going to take my 9 pieces and say, okay, every set of 8 I can get out of here is a whole number. So 8 goes into 9 one time. I multiply and then subtract. And then my remainder becomes part of the fraction. Here's my numerator and my denominator. You can let me finish what I'm saying before you yell out my name. Go ahead and go. So 9/8 is equal to 1 and 1/8. Give me a thumbs up if you are with me on that conversion. Okay? The only person who should probably be confused about this is Teo, who was not here for it. Anna, you good? Okay. Titus, you good there? Yeah. Okay.
It's in between.
Oh, stop it. All right. So if you don't get it yet, but you will. I'm going to do the same thing over here for 4 12s. I have 12 pieces. Every 4 pieces I have in there make a whole. 4 into 12 is 3. No remainders. Okay? So I am now comparing 1 and 1/8 to 3. Gosh, I wonder which one is bigger. Oh, I think maybe it's 3. Yippee. All right. Are we good there?
No. Where's the tissues?
All right. Let's look at another one. Let me make up one here.
What did you
I know awesome.
Okay, so let me draw a little line here. Go ahead and turn your voices off for me. Let's do.
Louise said the C word.
Okay, let's not say that. And we're moving on. I said, don't say it. We're moving on, right? Okay. So let's do 8/3 versus. Hang on, Miles. Look at your copy. Don't worry about it, okay?
Good day, sir.
10/7. All right, so take a look at these two.
I need 30 more.
8/3 and 10/7.
I need 182 seconds.
It's okay.
I need that 82 hours.
Now, some of you are looking at these and you're already able to size them up. So if you are a kiddo who can look at these and do some quick division in your head, good for you. Don't be a bragger and go ahead and study so the rest of us can break it down. But if you are, then that's where the rest of you are going to be when you're done, okay? So, raise your hand
If we need to go to
if you are ridiculous. Sure, go.
Thank you.
But whatever you miss, you miss. All right. Raise your hand if you can tell me what I need to do first. Jordan. Divide what? 3 into 8. So yes, remember we're going to work from the bottom up. So I'm going to say 3 divided into 8. If you don't need to write this out when you're doing your work, then don't. All the things I show you on your notes is to help you break it down. So 3 goes into 8 2 times. Thank you. 3 times 2 is 6. I subtract with the remainder 2.
I got 3.
Now, if you guys just want to put that 2, you don't have to put all of these steps. So I end up with 2 remainder 2. So if you just want to look, just write this, you can. Okay? Now, that remainder becomes the numerator of my fraction. Yes?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you can tell me what is my mixed number based on 2 remainder 2. Hannah Snyder Spider. You're good. Keep going. I know I've got 2 as a whole number, right?
I forget what is this number called? The denominator.
That's your denominator.
What's it like division?
The divisor.
Oh, the divisor is the denominator.
Okay, not quite. So, the denominator, yes. So we said that the remainder would be the numerator, and Hannah said that the divisor will be the denominator, or you could just stick with your denominator that you started with up here, okay? It never changes. Good job. So that 8/3 as a mixed number, guys, looks like 2 and 2/3. Everybody with me? All right. So let's do the same thing for 10/7. Raise your hand if you're going to walk me through that one. Or should I wait 1 second? Anybody need 30 seconds to write? Okay, let's put it on pause. All right, darlings, let's take a look. So raise your hand now if you can walk me through 10/7. We wanted to go ahead and turn that into a mixed number. Allison with an E.
Okay, so you're going to divide it.
Divide what into what?
The denominator into the numerator.
Denominator into the numerator. So again, you're going to go from the bottom to the top. Denominator divided into the numerator. So 7 into 10.
Then you're going to solve it.
we solve and say 7 goes into 10 one time with 3 left over. So we end up with 1 remainder 3.
Wait, I haven't calculated.
And
You don't have to.
then that makes 1. And then you have to put your denominator back on.
So she's saying
So
1 is our whole number. And what is our fraction?
3/7.
3/7. So again, the remainder becomes our numerator here. And then we're going to keep our same denominator. Okay? Everybody with me? Everybody with me?
No.
Whitney.
Teo, this might be a much because you haven't really mastered converting them, okay? So, let's keep going from there. Now, I hear a lot of people talking without their hand up, so I'm going to assume you don't need to talk to me, but you're just being rude. Okay, Whitney, did you have your hand up, honey? No, ma'am. Just for people to raise their hand if they want to talk. Ashton?
Can you pause it? I have a question. Can you pause?
Is it not about this problem?
It is.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm writing down everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I get some of it, but I don't get some of it.
Okay, well, you might need to go back with my notes and keep up with it. Or fill it in. Because you're also talking and you've left the room while we were still taking notes, so it gets you a little behind. I don't think you were going to the bathroom. longer than
I
5 seconds.
have a question.
But yes, we can get you caught up. We have broken these two improper fractions into mixed numbers. Again, step 1, we said we would check the whole numbers, which makes it extremely clear that 2 2/3 is greater than 1 3/7. Okay, finish writing that down. And what I'm going to do is give you a few more problems. I want you to try by yourself. I will check your answers, and then if we're all feeling pretty good, or most of us are feeling pretty good, we can move on to our assignment. Okay? So, we're going to call this You Do. So I can remember that you did these on your own.
I do.
All right, so problem number 1. Let me make something up here. Okay, so number 1 will be 7 4/9 versus 23/7. And number 2, let's do 42/6 versus 49/7. All right, so take these two, do what you need to do, and we will check your work. So if you're working at home, go ahead and pause and solve these and then hit play. All right, let's keep going. So raise your hand if you want to tell me what you got for number 1. Snyder Spider.
I got 7. 4 half
And 4/9. 7 and 4/9.
is greater than 23 and
23/7.
Yeah.
23/7.
That's
Jacob,
fine.
you agree? Okay. Anybody disagree
Me.
with this problem? Why?
Because I did the multiplication.
I'm sorry, 1 second. All right, so why? Who said they disagreed and why?
Me.
Okay, why do you disagree?
So I made a mistake, but now I agree with her.
Okay.
Can I tell you my mistake?
Sure. What was your mistake?
I did not put. Actually, never mind. I disagree. So you didn't.
If I look at 23/7, And I think, okay, I'm going to take 7 and divide it into 23. How many times will 7 go into 23, y'all? 7 times what gets me close to 23, Jordan? 3 times. So immediately I know that this one is smaller. I mean, it's that simple. Boom. I don't even have to fully divide it. I don't even have to make a full mixed number. Okay? So that one, I mean, you can just kind of take a look at what it would be like as a mixed number, and that one falls into place. Raise your hand if you have an answer for number 2.
Me.
Okay, well, yours was wrong. Hannah's, okay, so Hannah, what is your answer?
42.6 is less than 49.7.
Okay, who has a different answer? Jordan. He got equals. Why?
When I was dividing,
Uh-huh.
6 goes into 42 7 times.
Yep.
And then when I was dividing on the other one, 7 goes into 49 7 times.
And they're equal. Yes.
It's sure.
Okay. So one of the things, and Hannah, I'm just going to kind of make you a little bit of an example. One of the things that she said, and I've heard this is, she's not the only one I've heard this from, is when she's looking at these two, right? Let me mark this out. She said this denominator's bigger, or this numerator's bigger, and so is the denominator. Now, if we have learned anything about fractions so far, it's that we are not judging based on bigger numbers. If anything, the smaller the denominator, the bigger the fraction. Remember that this is dividing things up. So if I have a cake and I divide it into 3 big old slices, or I have a cake and I divide it between 7 people, which pieces are going to be bigger? The slices of 3 or the slices of 7? The slices of 3. So the whole bigger number thing gets blown right out the window. Do not compare those just looking at them and say, oh, it has bigger numbers on top and bottom. It doesn't matter. That's why we have to switch them to mixed numbers. We have to be able to see fractions as bigger than half, smaller than half. We have to be able to picture them and understand them because they don't work like regular numbers. They don't work like that. Okay, so that one is equal. How do you feel about doing some work on your own? Give me a thumbs up if you feel like, okay, I'm ready.
Yes.
In the middle, if you would like to do more practice with the class, or thumbs down if you have no idea how you're going to get any of your work done. Okay.
I'm telling the truth,
Okay.
by the way.
All right. So, Teo, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you work on the video notes for the last assignment. And then, so why don't you just start working on getting caught up, and from now on, we'll just have you work off videos because you're missing the last assignment. That's why this one doesn't make sense, okay? So we'll do that with you. The rest of you, we will work some of the problems from the assignment together, okay? But let's go ahead and get out our math workbook. All right, get it out, and let's take a look at our assignment real quick. So, well, no, honey, because you just learned something. So we gotta, get it worked out.
They did math work yesterday. Can you use mine?
I already have his. Thank you. All right, so let's take a look at page.
Use my brain.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna switch brains.
All right, I'm on page 109.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and put our name up here, page 109. And we're going to say this is due Wednesday, April
28.
Oh, wait, no, today is Wednesday. This is going to be due Friday, April 25th, 26th. Okay?
Sorry.
All right, everybody.
I didn't mean to. Why didn't we use these for division?
Why is there so much talking?
What number are you on?
All right, we are on page 109.
Well, you hate us.
Enough. We're on page 109. We've got our name at the top, and we have written due Friday, 4/26. Titus, is that you talking out loud? I think it is, bud. I don't know if you realize it, but yes, sir. Yes, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and put you down for your minutes today, okay? Be aware.
I have 5.
I'm not discussing that with you right now. We're still rolling. All right, so everybody's on page, watch out please, on page 109. We have written our name and that our assignment is due Friday, the 26th. So go ahead and make sure you write due Friday, 26th. Okay, everybody good there? No, sir, just leave them. We skipped to chapter 6.
Why didn't we do the division chapter?
That has nothing to do with this lesson, but if you want to ask it later when we're not recording, I would be happy to talk to you about it. All right, so for the first section, you are going to be comparing. So I'm just going to, right here, they just want your symbols. Now, what you'll notice is that, for the most part, it looks pretty straightforward. Okay? I mean, I really don't see any improper or mixed anything, right? Everything is one or another. So, those look pretty straightforward, numbers 1 through 12. All right? In the next section, Zoe, do you have your book out? Get your math workbook out. In the next section, they want you to take the mixed numbers. They've given you 3 of each. And you are going to rewrite them from least to greatest. So I would put, what I noticed when I was grading is that some of you are putting like a 1, a 2, a 3. If you would not do that, I would really appreciate it. It is much faster for me to be able to just take what you write and compare it to my answer key, instead of figuring out which is 1, which is 2, which is 3. That takes me extra time. I know it's faster for you to write those numbers, but again, when we make it easier for the teacher to grade things,
they like us more.
The teacher's life is better, and the teacher likes you more, okay? So I'm going to ask you to put them out here, just to the side, or if you want to write them a little smaller underneath, you can do that too, but please don't put those numbers. I was able to figure them out, but it took me an extra minute, whereas I should be going boom, 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 because I have so many things to grade, okay? Any questions about that?
No.
All right. At the bottom of this page, Zoe, we're on 109. It says plot the mixed number on the number line. So there's step 1. After that, they want us to round to the nearest whole number, okay? There's number 2. Now let's do number 17 together. So our mixed number for number 17 is 1 and 2/6. So here's my whole number 1, and here's number 2. 1 and 2/6 is going to be somewhere between 1 and 2, right, Sassafras? Okay. So when I look at how many spaces are in between 1 and 2, I'm going to start at my first line and jump. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are exactly 6 spaces between 1 and 2. So I am going to assume that the second, or the 2/6, the 2/6, falls where? Is it the first line? This is a whole number, right? Is everybody with me? Where would the 2 be? Raise your hand if you can tell me. Anna Banana. On the second line. So this would be 2 out of 6, 3 out of 6, and so forth. So which one do we need to mark? we're plotting 1 and 2, 6. So I'm at 1, okay? And then I'm going to put my dot right here above the 2, 6, where the 2, 6 would be. Any questions about that? Now, it also wants you to plot, it says, to the nearest whole number, round to the nearest whole number. So, looking at what you've plotted here, is that dot closer to 1 or closer to 2? Everybody see it?
Yes.
It's right here, right next to the 1, so it's closer to 1. And that's what you're rounding. Any questions about that? Let's also do 18 together, just in case. Okay, I'm going to come down a little bit. 3 and 7/9. Again, if my denominator is 9, I'm going to assume that between 3 and 4, there are 9 spaces. I have to hop 9 times to get to the next whole number. So if I'm at 3, I'm looking for 7/9. So I'm going to start at 3 and jump over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/9. Now, if I look at that, my next one would be 8/9. And then when I land on 4, I'm at 9/9. Does that equal a whole number?
Yeah.
Yes, so that is correct. So I'm going to go ahead and plot my dot right there above that 7/9. I'm at 3 and 7/9. I'm almost to the 4. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So when I round to my nearest whole number, I look at where I plotted and I say, oh, okay, this is way closer to 4 than it is to 3. So when I round, I'm going to round up to 4. Yeah. I'm sorry, will you start over one more time, a little louder?
On the first one, it says 1, 2, 6.
Uh-huh.
What's the dot on the 2, 6?
Yes.
If you count the line backward, the 6, 6 is the line before this.
So that would be, so if I start at the 1, which would be 1/6, right? That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I land on the 2, that should be the 6, 6. So if I go backwards, that would be 5, 6, 4, 6, 3, 6. Oh, I'm sorry. 5, 6, 4, 6, 3, 6, 2, 6, 1, 6. No. Yes, she's correct. So it should be over 1. Okay? She's absolutely right. It should be here. Okay, we're going to put a dot on the third one. Yes, because this one would have been a 6, 6 also, right? So when I count over 1, then I count over 2. So again, guys, look at this really carefully. It's kind of a mess, but here's my number 1. I count over 1 step. That's 1, 6. I bounce over to the next line. That's 2, 6. Okay? So she's absolutely right. We're plotting on the second line after the 1, but it's still closer to 1 than it is to 2.
So on 18, it would be wrong too.
No?
18's right.
This is, hang on. So here I am at 3. So if I start here, I jump 1, that's 1/9. 2/9. 3/9. 4/9. 5/9. 6/9. 7/9. I just didn't hop the first time,
Do I take
obviously.
Do I take out 105 and 106?
I'm talking to you about that in a minute. All right, any other questions about this section?
I'm confused.
Okay, we're not going to talk about it right now. You can ask me a question that is like relevant, or you can come up to me after we're done, okay? Because the whole time you're back there, you're talking to other people or doing something in your desk.
Because all the crossing out.
Okay. And we'll talk about it in a little bit.
I don't know what to put there.
I'm sure you don't. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the back page. I'm sorry you feel that way. I would say the same thing about you sometimes, girlfriend. You gotta pay attention. Okay, so on the back of 110, it wants you, if you look at those directions, rename as a mixed number or an improper fraction. So they've set it up for you next to, and they've given you a visual. They have given you, they're starting with a mixed number here, so they want you to turn this into an improper fraction. Sissy.
I know.
Okay. Good. Write it down. No, I'm not going to do these with you because these are pretty easy. They're from the last. Lesson. But let's look. Yeah. I mean, so for the most part, all of these, when you look at them, they've given you a part of them, and down at the underneath through 24, they've even given you the denominators. Yeah, well, actually, they've done that for all of them. They've given you denominators. So if it's a mixed number, make it improper. If it's an improper fraction, make it a mixed number. Any questions about 21 through 27?
No, ma'am.
I'm going to help you. Hang on. Okay? All right. And then at the very bottom, we have one last section. At the bottom of 110. Now, they want you, here it says here, to write true or false about these fractions. So they've made a statement. They've said that 17 tenths is greater than 15 fifteenths. I'm going to tell you that this one is true because 15 fifteenths is equal to 1.
Wait, do we have to explain it because we don't...
Now, it says, hang on one second, buddy. We're going to do one. That's step 1, okay? But if you look at the next line, here's step 2 of your instructions. It says explain your answer for 34 through 36. So let's take a look at 34 and let's just talk about what it means to explain these, because we don't want to make it too complicated, right? What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make 9/5 a mixed number real quick. That is going to be 1 4/5. So they're saying 1 4/5 is less than 2 3/5. Okay, are you with me? Yeah, Jacob.
Can I just put here?
You can, yeah. I'm just showing how I know. So, for this one, I would say, oh, you mean on the rest of them? So what Jacob said is, can he just put like a T for like up here instead of writing out the word true? Absolutely, you can. I will say this, instead of writing true there, he wants to write a T. Be careful with your handwriting because for some people, they can look similar. Okay, so just make sure they are very clearly a T, very clearly an F. And some of you are thinking I'm crazy, but trust me, every Bible quiz, I'm like, somebody tried to be shady there to make it like, oh, well, it could be either or. Yeah, then it's wrong. Okay, if I have any question about it in my mind, I'm not going to sit here all day and try to figure it out. It's going to be wrong. But yes, for sure, right, true, or false.
Like this?
Now, I'm looking at these two. So this one is going to be false, right? So they want you to explain why. And I am going to say, oh, actually it's true. Sorry. It's true, and I'm going to say 1 is less than 2. I mean, it's that simple, right? Are y'all with me?
No.
So this is, how do I know that this is true? How do I know that 1/5 is less than 2 3/5? Ashton, how do you know just by looking at that? Is that true? Is 1/5 smaller than 2 3/5?
Yes.
Yes, why?
The 1 is smaller than the 2.
Yeah, because 1 is less than 2. So if I'm going to explain anything there, I'm going to keep it very simple, and I'm going to say 1 is smaller than 2. Okay? Don't use a bunch of words, just make it real simple. All you had to do was compare the whole numbers.
What about the 28?
What about what?
Gave us the answer for 28. You didn't.
I did, because the instructions say write true or false, and then it says explain your answer for 34 through 36. So you don't have to explain for anything but those bottom 3 numbers. Okay? Any other questions about this assignment?
No.
All right, dumplings. Go ahead and get started on it. Do me a favor. Let me pause this.